of stimulus checks. And the reason why stimulus checks, I think, are tricky because uh, it can happen two ways. Either the wealthy get wealthier, or the poor middle class individuals, they get poorer or stay in where they're at. Right? Doesn't really equate to any type of wealth. Either they spend it back and they stay there, or they Alright, and we're back here today with some more of my millennial uh, money cues and money related topics, where I feel that a lot of us know things, and we know a lot of things that we shouldn't be doing and should be doing, but most of the time we don't do it, right? That is the difference between uh, when you see certain people either getting what they want and not getting what they want. It's not really that they don't know what to do or how to do it, but it's more about uh, actually following through with that and actually taking action, right? And that's for any part of our lives, any aspect, is normally that we don't take action. And I really want to talk about today about one of the things that I feel that for me I've learned over the years, as far as being more, getting my financial literacy up and understanding the differences in how the individuals that are able to build wealth and those that are kind of always finding it kind of hard, or think that it's not for us, or we should never be been have access because maybe of your situation, with the cards you were dealt with, where you were born, or what race you came from, what religion, whatever it may be. Although a lot of those things are there are a lot of facts to that, but I think we can kind of control what we can and not really worry about the things that we can't control. Right, a lot of things in life, most of the time, that's probably one of the best answers, right? But it's a lot of truth to it as well. Now we all coming into some, especially millennials and Gen Z, maybe have been a tough year, the pandemic and all these things that happen, and we're getting a lot of we might not be working, or we might not be able to work, but we're suddenly getting these influxes of stimulus checks. And the reason why stimulus checks, I think, are tricky because it can happen two ways. Either the wealthy get wealthier, or the poor middle class individuals, they get poorer or stay in where they're at. Right? Doesn't really equate to any type of wealth. Either they spend it back and they stay there, or they just put it back into the economy by buying and consuming, obviously, from the wealthy. So the reason why I feel like the stimulus checks could be either a great help for those that are in need right now, obviously, but those that are just going to use it for something that they might want to purchase. And that all relates to, basically, when it comes to building your wealth, is not letting the lifestyle creep occur to you. And what I mean by that is, all of us humans do it, all human behavior. Uh, Technically, stats and everything that shows, whenever you have an increase in your income, or you get some type of unexpected money, uh, quote unquote lottery winners, normally they, if they didn't have any financial literacy before that, um, either they depleted all the funds, or they didn't do much with the money. It lasted a couple of years, and they were back to where they started. So what does that explain to us? One, that obviously it's not about how much you make, when you make it. It's about your financial literacy, right? And two, that money can make you happy. um, but it is a good option and a good, obviously, a tool, which what we call it is a tool to give you. For me, I feel like it gives you more options and more freedom to kind of really follow what it is that you're here to do. Sometimes, because we don't have the funds or the means, and we have to continue trading our time for money, and that can lead to trading our time for things that we might not want to be doing, but we need the money, so we're doing that. But if you're able to buy your time back, I feel that this is why I call it what I feel like I look at wealth as being able to buy back your time. It's not necessarily to buy back materialistic stuff, bigger houses, bigger cars, vacations, all these things that we kind of loved. And when, don't get me wrong, those are great things, but we're not really buying back our time when we buy those things. We're actually trading more time in the future. So I know the stimulus check is coming. Our first thoughts are going to be, well, I'm going to get this thing I really want to get. Finally get those things that I haven't gotten in a while. All these things that we, as natural human beings, we think about. So again, besides the fact that we are the persons that are most people that are receiving the stimulus checks are gonna need it, especially if you've lost a job last year, or you have depleted your savings, or you definitely need the money, right? But for those that probably were able to still work, or were able to collect, or were able to have some type of income coming in, the stimulus check might actually come in handy for them to actually have some extra money around, and can kind of hold them, sustain them for the next couple of months. But for the wealthy, the stimulus check is going to be adding to their wealth, right? Their wealth is going to grow. As I've seen an article that I read a couple of days ago, during the pandemic, a lot of the wealthier just got wealthier. They didn't lose any money. They didn't go bankrupt. They got wealthier, as opposed to middle class and poor people. Unfortunately, we didn't either get wealthier, and if you didn't get wealthier, you stay flat. And then individuals that lost their jobs, obviously we know they went from middle class to poor within the last year, and that is hard things to look at. I think that's kind of like very telling of what the country that we live in, and how sometimes we're basically just living up to our lifestyles, and we don't really understand the concept of living below our means. And that's something that I've learned and I've dealt with. So I'm speaking from experience. But the reason I wanted to bring up the stimulus check again is because the choices you make with your stimulus check today, right now, this year, will only be able to see it, I would say, 5-10 years out, right? If you don't need the money and you're working and you receive this money, you can either, again, you can put it back into the economy, you can purchase it, you can go to these favorite big brand stores and buy stuff that you probably don't need, and be happy. Or you can make the tough decision and buy something with it, buy an asset. And what I mean is invest, right? Invest in any type of situation that might help you. Maybe invest in yourself. Maybe, like I always say, maybe take a course that you may want to take. Do things that you want to do for yourself. Or the most obviously easiest way to invest is invest into either some type of stock or companies, and just put that money there for yourself for the future. And I think personally, it's hard for us to see that because we don't feel like we're gonna see that. What's $1,400 gonna do for me in 10 years? But if you see my videos and I talk about all the time, the magic, obviously they say the eighth magic wonder of the world is compounding interest. And the power that, if there's charts out there that we've put in numbers, you can go to regular websites, they have charts of compounding interest. You put in the amount, you put the amount of years and how much percentage is going to grow within that time, the rate of return. It tells you how much that initial money is going to be worth in 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And the power of compound interest is that $1,400 won't be $1,400 in 10 years. And it won't be, double. It might be triple from what it is, from what it is 10 years from now. As opposed to we looking at the $1,400 like nothing, like it's not a really big deal. It can actually be a big catapult for a lot of us in a long term. And I'm not talking about 1, 2, 3 years. I'm talking about 5, 10 years. And I personally think that is the difference between the individuals that are building wealth and getting wealthier, and individuals like ourselves that we're just thinking that the money that we receive is not enough money, so let's just have fun, let's live with it today, let's do what we can today because we don't know about 5 or 10 years from now. But think about where we're at right now, and think about how we thought 5 or 10 years ago, and how we would have probably had a different situation now had we invested 5 or 10 years ago. And then you can always change. Life is always here for us. It's never too late, never too obviously too late to get in the game. It's never, you're never gonna miss a chance. The whole point is to, obviously a lot of us are reading these, or if you're watching this video, obviously you're very interested in financial literacy and you're learning about, and you know a lot about investing, and you've probably researched a lot, but have you taken action? Have you actually, put your feet in the water, as they say? And fear gets in the way, obviously, and the risk and all the things that we have. Obviously, want to speak to your financial advisor about that. But if you don't start in any situation, if you don't start, momentum never takes over. And I feel that as the millennials and the Gen Zs, obviously a lot more got a lot more information. They're the ones right now changing the game, where they're buying all these stocks and taking the power away from the traditional institutions that actually have been taken over for a long, long time. Our millennials and like myself, we're still kind of, I think, half and half. A lot of us know what investing is, what to do, what they called, and we know a lot. But a lot of us are kind of not playing the game. We talk about it a lot, but we're not in the game. So I think the best time, to be honest, if the stimulus checks are coming in right now, and the money is great, and you've been working and you've been able to take care of yourself, this stimulus check might be a good opportunity to start saving if you don't have a savings, and also another way to start investing if you haven't started investing, because this money is coming to you at a moment where you probably didn't expect it, and that is where I think the difference is going to make in 5 or 10 years from now. Those are going to go out there right now, and don't get me wrong, I'm tempted to do that as well, buy a brand new 65-inch TV, and those of us that are going to invest that for the future. And I'm speaking from experience. I get that emotion, that feeling all the time, but I always wanted to look at myself as well 10 years from now and talk to myself now and be like, hey, what do you do for yourself 10 years ago? And there's a question we're tough for us to ask ourselves. We don't want to talk to ourselves a lot, but I think the better you can understand yourself, makes these decisions a lot more easier. So if you get your stimulus check, think about it. Again, this is not advice. I'm a financial advisor, so do contact your financial advisor anyway. But think about it, right? You can either invest it for the long run and let compound interest make it work, or we can go ahead and take that away from ourselves, take the power away from our wealth, and buy something maybe you might not need. If you need it, great, but most of the time we don't need a lot of things. We can hold off for a couple of more months, a couple of years, but don't let this opportunity pass us. I think we will be better off in the long run. So yeah, stimulus checks coming in. Make sure you are smart with it, do what you can, and understand the difference between going to a big box store and spending it on something very, very not satisfying, and investing for the long run. You might thank yourself in the future. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.